All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Nitha Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 855, joined by a really special guest. His name is Julian Wright. He's a former NBA player. He played for a lot of teams throughout his career, but now he's in the Big Three League, which is awesome. And we're looking forward to this interview. And Julian, thank you again for joining the show. It's truly an honor. And first of all, how are you and your family doing so far?
I appreciate you having me. Thank you. We're doing fine. Just trying to get active. Again, kind of trying to find some sense of normalcy and just get active. Like I said, just it's good to see people, being around people, and being at peace, and still kind of people trying to find the groove. Figure out, okay, yeah, let's getting those social cues back. I've been all right. I've been in Taiwan. So they kind of opened up before the States. So I kind of had that sense of normalcy for the most part throughout this time frame.
Yeah, so I want to start off with your childhood growing up. Obviously, you grew up in Chicago, Illinois, and when did you get interested in playing sports and especially basketball? And let me ask you this: was Michael Jordan your role model growing up in Chicago?
Yeah, absolutely. I was spoiled, because I was able to watch the local games as well.
Yeah.
Network WGN. We watch the games, all the home games, especially doing homework. I finish my homework and I can just watch, and it's cold, so it's not always easy to go outside and just play. But when it got warmer, that's the time to go out there, emulate his moves, or if we're at the gym or gym class. But yeah, I was able to watch. I didn't fully understand the greatness, but I knew that okay, he's got to be the best player. As I did look at other talent when I was younger. But watching film as I got older, I definitely could appreciate it more.
Yeah. So I want to ask you what in high school and before going to college, and obviously, did you get now these days coaches love to put players in multiple positions, and like Kevin Durant plays a five sometimes for the Nets, or you see positionless basketball now. So for you, when you were playing in high school, did the coach make you play multiple positions before settling on power forward and center?
Yeah, I could say I was ahead of my time in a lot of ways. I wasn't used in multiple positions for one team, but I played multiple positions throughout the course of my childhood. So I grew up being the tallest kid in my schools, every pretty much every stop of the way. So I was playing inside, but I used to be better than a lot of my peers when I was, so I would play against people older than me and taller and stronger, faster. So I would play like a guard, or I might play with grown-ups where I'm passing because they want to shoot. So that's how I got to start to hone in on dribbling and passing skills, even rebounding skills, and realizing if I can't shoot, I got to get a rebound just to get the chance to score.
Yeah.
So uh, that was kind of how I did it. Also, I'll just throw this in here, and one mixtapes. That was kind of how I grew up on. I would go outside and work on all my drill moves,
Nice.
and even though the fancy moves, but it still helped me just that was me doing film study. That was me looking at someone doing the drill move, and me going out trying outside. But in high school, by the time I got to high school, I was playing inside. I played JV my freshman year, and then it was a big switch. And now I played varsity. Started, in the next 3 years, and I played point guard.
Wow.
My coach saw that I had, he saw those skills that I attained from just a childhood playing in the streets and playing against people older than me, stronger than me, and so he moved me to point guard. So I played point guard in high school, but in AAU I played like point forward. I would get the rebound and I would start the fast break. So I kind of had two different ways of playing, even though they were totally different environments. So that's kind of how I was already one of those positionless players, but I didn't get a chance. It wasn't the norm for me to be
Right.
in one team like that.
Hmm. Yeah, so for you, take me back to your college recruiting process, and this is my favorite time of the year, seeing where high school players go. And for you, how many offers did you have, and what made you choose Kansas? Because Kansas is an amazing college basketball team. Obviously, Bill Self, your head coach, and what was it like the recruiting process, and how hard did Kansas come after you?
Well, yeah, this is a nice walk down memory lane. Well, I started off. Like I didn't start off in varsity. Like I said, I started with JV. As there just wasn't enough minutes for how my head coach wanted me to play, so he gave me a lot of minutes in JV. I didn't really have my coming out party until going into I'd say my junior year. I started getting interest, and I was getting some letters, but actual offers didn't come until the spring of my junior year, going to my senior year. That's when I really blew up on the AAU circuit. So I had the likes of Illinois, DePaul, University of Arizona, um, Duke, Indiana, and then Kansas. And so I had to kind of narrow it down. I narrowed it down to Illinois, Kansas, Arizona. Now, the reason that KU was big high on the list was because Coach Self, he was at University of Illinois when I was still in, Chicago area playing, and then he moved to Kansas. So I kind of still kept my eye on them and vice versa. So that was kind of, I kind of started that pipeline. A lot of Chicagoans going to Kansas. So yeah, so that was kind of how it worked. In the short answer that, that's how I stayed. That's how KU came interest, because Roy Williams wasn't recruiting me but he left even when I was only a sophomore. So it's understood they weren't offering me at that time.
Yeah, so Bill Self, what a great coach he is in college, and what was it like just to be recruited by him? And Kansas wanted you from the beginning, and what was it like to see that, to have that support system from Kansas and Bill Self, a great coach, and what was that like, just a meeting before you signed that attention?
It wasn't too nerve wracking. It wasn't. I felt comfortable in my decision. I thought he was him and Coach Townsend, who was the main assistant, recruiting me as well. They were very genuine, honest. They told me, "Hey, I'm going to earn my minutes," and I was used to that. Even as, like I said, a freshman, I didn't start as a freshman in varsity. Like, my coach kind of just let me put the work in, and then, the minutes were not given to me; they were earned. And so that's kind of how I always liked it in my life. When I earn it, it's hard for someone to look them in the face and take it away. But so that was the one pitch that was different than the rest. The other ones was kind of red carpet treatment. Not saying that they were acting like that, but they were saying, "Hey, come here, you're gonna play, you're gonna do this and that," and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I like the accountability part of it, and then Coach Self is very like a people person, player first. He leaves his door. He has a door open policy. He could be on a phone call, a meeting. He'll just hang up, say, "Hey, I got a player coming in. I'll talk to you later." And, "Hey, come in. What's up?" Even if it's 5 minutes. Who knows how serious that call could have been? But he makes time for his players. So those things stick with me even to this day.
Wow. Yeah. So now you come in playing for a top team in Kansas, and you're playing with players like Jeff Hawkins, Russell Robinson, Mario Chalmers, NBA champion, Shasha Khan, Brandon Rush. I love Brandon Rush as a player, Darnell Jackson. So what's it like to be playing with those type of talented players? And speaking of fan bases, you guys had one of the best fan bases. I would put you guys on top with Duke, North Carolina, Gonzaga, Baylor. You go down the list. Your fan base is on top of the list to me, in my opinion.
Yeah. As I think about so much talent that was there, playing with guys, there were good locker room guys. We all had good vibes. We didn't, of course, there might get chippy here and there during practice, but we're when it's time to go to war against other teams, we're huddled up in a huddle. Yesterday's over, and then we don't carry it over. And I think that was the culture. Our practices were sometimes more competitive than the games. No disrespect to some of the teams we played, but I mean, because we didn't want to slack, because again, like, if we're not playing hard in practice, our minutes could be taken from us at times, or just a statement, hey, this game, you just might play 10 minutes instead of 20, somebody else get those minutes. They had a good practice, or they were on time to class, whatever the case is, it kind of helped with professionalism. And I think, playing with those guys, really, and being that coach really prepared me for the rest of my whole career in terms of, even though I was an amateur, professionalism. And, because KU, the fan base is huge also because they don't have NBA team in their state, so that kind of does it kind of get absorbed. It's not kind of diluting any interest for basketball, and then people are, I'll be on TV, people move around. There's KU clubs on internet, like on different Facebook groups, different cities for watch parties, you name it. So yeah, it's definitely the connectivity is you can sense it. We travel on away games. There's always fans there. Even in the Big 12 conference games,
Yeah.
away games, tournament, you name it. So we know that's that responsibility that that we need to go out there and really show our appreciation. Of course, all the people in the Allen Fieldhouse, just packing it every day. So that was a memories that I will definitely keep close to my heart.
Yeah, so now let's get to the fun part, your draft experience. You got drafted in 2007, round one, pick 13 by the New Orleans Hornets. What was that like? Take me back to your draft experience, and what was it like spending time with your family, waiting for your name to be called, and once you got your name called, what was the feeling like?
It kind of it was a lot. It was pretty tiresome. Just a lot of training, the pre-draft workouts, getting used to the grind where college, it's practice is tough, it's team, rah rah rah, we got to do sprints, we got to do this, but it's like pre-draft, it's like you're by yourself. You don't have anybody kind of pushing you through. You don't have everyone clapping it up for you. It's kind of just quiet. You do your thing. And so it's like that was kind of new for me, just that process.
Yeah.
Some workouts. I had I had a situation where I rolled my ankle in my first workout. I remember with the Boston Celtics, and so my agent at the time was Rob Pelinka, who's now the GM of the Lakers. We strategized, and we just added some more workouts in the pre-team draft phase. But I had some teams that were looking to draft me top 10. But I just wasn't able to they weren't able to get a good look, because one thing for me, playing at a big school, at least in that time period, before social media, before YouTube, before all this extra, clips that people might have in their, repertoire, the pre-drafts are really important for them to see just your skill set, and you can't really hide. You can hide in those big teams. You score 10 points, 12 points, which I did around that. But everyone's scoring 10, 12 points, and so it's kind of like, it's not the same. So when we rolled my ankle, that kind of made it a little tough. Didn't know, how that would affect my pre-draft. I mean, how my draft was, but with the New Orleans Hornets, with Jeff Bauer, the GM at the time, them believing in my skill set, what I could do, coming from that pedigree like KU does help, because they know that they're definitely preparing guys for the big league. And hear my name call was great. And it didn't sink in until I took a bathroom break, because up until that point, it's just like, don't trip on the stage, wear this hat this way. It's just like, just get it all right. And so I was just using the bathroom. I was like, man, I'm in the NBA. It's like crazy, but so that was kind of cool, just because I obviously it was a goal of mine, but my encouragement people was like, have a goal, but like just keep going into the finish line, for that goal, or somebody could pass you up or something, or you just kind of lose sight of it. So I was just focused, and I passed the finish line. Oh, I'm here, type thing. So that's how it was for me. Maybe someone else was, they were surprised. I wasn't surprised I got drafted, but still, like, it hit me like, oh, I'm actually drafted. So it worked out, that I got picked in that way.
That shows how hard you worked throughout your college career and your high school career, and put in the work. That's the main thing. And speaking, what was it like shaking hands with the late Davis Stern? And obviously we miss him to death. And what a great commissioner he was. But Adam Silver, man, he's picking up the slack here. But I always love Davis Stern's memories, and I always look back at the past drafts in the day and see these favorite memories with the players that shake hands with Davis Stern. So what was that? What was that moment like? You got to shake hands with the late Davis Stern.
It was great. Again, it all didn't sit in. It all just was an experience, and I didn't really. I was able to just kind of absorb it afterwards. Like I said, we were being prepped on everything. Just this is the order. This is this way you go. It was kind of just like a stage. Really, I was kind of like someone who doesn't want to mess up their lines type thing. I was kind of like, just go up there, make sure I shake, make sure look at them first, smile, then look here, smile.
Yeah.
Try to have a hat where it's not too low so you can see your face. It was just, it was just little things that kind of helped the experience later on. Like, if you have your hat way down here, it's going to look bad for you, in the future when you're trying to get, some good photos to look at. So that was kind of what I was thinking about. But yeah, just to be in that, knowing that so many people have been there before me and who came, even after me, prior to his passing, it's definitely a blessing just to have been able to do that. And, hopefully my kids and other people can see, like you said, what Adam said, Silver was picking everything up and continuing to work. It's one thing I'll say is it's just great to again have a goal and see it through. And my family, I know is happy for me, and I couldn't do it without my family and people just in my corner who helped me also stay grounded, stay focused, because there's a lot of things out there that can keep people distracted and off course. So it's definitely you can call it a team effort, although I was definitely in the gym putting the work in.
Yeah, so I want to actually, before we get to your experience, I want to get to your coach, Brian Scott, and because he's the one who invested in you and put in the trust and in the rest of the coaching staff. What was that? What was it like playing underneath Brian Scott? And what a great coach! And underneath the rest of the coaching staff, what was that like?
For me, I'll be candid. It was not the best experience. I respected obviously what he's done as a player and with the coaching staff. And but I'll be honest, I didn't have the best experience, but it was not personal. He's obviously he's been to the finals with Jason Kidd. He definitely has been a really great strategic coach, putting people in certain places to be successful, especially guard oriented, obviously with Chris Paul and things like that. But as a young player coming in with a veteran group, I felt like it went from moving around 18, 19, 21-year-olds to then, aside from Chris Paul and my teammate at the time, Hilton Armstrong, everyone else was like 28 and up.
Wow.
And it was like a big disconnect. And I felt like the things that I wanted to do, I was trying to get feedback. And also my agent at the time, trying to just figure out where my place is. So when I got drafted, the reason why they took me, just to know a little background, is Peja Stojakovic. He had back surgery that year. That's when, that team wasn't a lottery pick type of team. He had got hurt. They had a couple of, Tyson, a couple other guys had some injuries or just nicks, and they kind of just didn't have the best season. Being obviously 30 pick means you're closer to the playoff than not. And he came back and he was healthy, and they already invested a lot of money in him. So that's, it was one of those things where I was kind of like, I was supposed to still be, a player to definitely get in the role, but as a lottery pick, you expected to, based on the projection, is to also produce and get minutes to produce. And so I felt like I wasn't able to really get a chance to play. And with that style of play, I wasn't just a stand in the corner shooter type of player. I developed that over time, but NBA doesn't wait for you to,
Right. Yeah.
And I was a slasher, I was an all-around player. I knew I was going to come there and play point guard, so it was a big learning curve for me. That's why I said it wasn't the best experience, just because of me, my being drafted there, and then that team being a playoff team. Obviously, the next year they're in the playoffs, in the next 2 years, and then so it wasn't a project build type of situation. And RP Rob Pelinka at the time and I were trying to actually just go to the D League just to play.
Okay.
Normal first. It was kind of like, well, we don't want draft picks going down there now. It's normal. Go down there and play. And that was my mindset. It's like, all right, if I'm not playing up here, just let me go play so I can eventually help the team. I can get comfortable. Pass to me. I'll just play in that way. You can play me the same way that you want me to play with the Hornets. But so that was my idea. And I was kind of just felt like I was just kind of just there until or if someone aged or got hurt. They brought in James Posey. I played behind the late Rasul Butler.
Yeah.
So it was basically like I'm like a third string small forward, but I'm a draft pick. And so I got traded. But I don't want to jump the gun, but that it just wasn't a good fit. But like I said, it prepared me for later on through my career. But that's one thing that I can just say is that it just was a bad fit based on Paige being healthy, and them knowing that we already invested 60 something million. Okay, we got to get that out of him.
That's crazy. I
This
mean,
business, it's
yeah,
cut. I'm not. That's what I say. It's not personal. I'm just saying I'm not. I don't have much to rave about because the situation didn't give me that. I didn't have the opportunity to put, especially my youngest years, to really, just get out there and work through things. If I make a couple mistakes, I got to get yanked. Because a small market, they wanted to win now. That was that type. Small window. So Chris there, obviously the electrifying player at the time, even more so Duncan and all type of stuff, and just steals and playing obviously just still great, but just more athletic and just like I said,
right.
they wanted to kind of build a team to win now, and that didn't fit. It was just a timing
But
thing.
still, to be honest, no disrespect to the franchise, but that doesn't make sense. And if they were trying to win now, I mean, they could have utilized you too in the system. I mean, that's insane. But
Yeah, yeah, that's what I say. It's a. This is years. I know we're talking over 10 years from then, but that's something that I use this for mentorship, bro. Because a lot of things, even people have injuries, and I think I haven't had any major injuries. I'm 34. I'm healthy, but some people might get hurt, and that keeps them from playing. But they just want to give back with advice, things like that. So I just want to talk about, it's not always going to work how you might think it is, but being a professional player, that's what I signed up for, not just an NBA player. So I took a lot of those experiences, and it's really pushed me, and drove me, gave me the drive throughout the rest of my career. But that was the situation. Someone could say, well, you didn't do this. I didn't get a chance to really do much, in the sense of being drafted high. So that's I still, again, opportunity that I won't regret. But that even when people get to a point where they're 1%, there's a lot of things that have to work just for them to get in this situation.
yeah, I mean, so before we move on to your Raptors career, I want to ask you though, just talking about some of your teammates here, especially you just said the late Rasheed Butler. What a tragedy, man! This guy, he was a great player too, and rest in peace. But what was it like playing with Brandon Bass? Actually, you got to learn from great veterans here at the same time. Brandon Bass, David. I love David West, man. This guy is a baller. James Posey, like you just said, Maurice Peterson, another great player. Tyson Chandler. Obviously Chris Paul, he makes everything easy for you guys. So just speak on your teammates and what was it like just to play with great veterans and especially Chris Paul as a point guard.
Yeah, like that experience was cool. Like I said, it wasn't anyone's necessarily fault. It was just that system, But like with being around those vets, I saw what professionalism is. What it meant. I play with all vet. I mean, if I just go down this list, it's like wow, wow, wow. I played with Melvin Ely, Bonzi Wells my first couple years. Bobby Johnson got traded for Bonzi Wells, so I played with him for the first year. I played with Ryan Bowens now, who's with the Nuggets. I played with Sean Marks, who's the GM of this is when I'm younger, so I'm playing with like veterans, and me just getting a chance, and like I said, Mo Pete, all those guys, Tyson Chandler. I mean, you name it. I got a chance to see people who've been in the league, been established, having conversations with them, even things off the court, things what they're into, how they, they're operating and moving. I keep all that information stored, and I'm starting to execute things now. But it was great to just, like I said, be around them. They would encourage me. But it wasn't anything they could do. They were in their system. They were part of it. They had been there, and I was just kind of just really just learning, just taking. Like I say, what I took from that experience was building relationships with those guys, seeing the growth of CP, seeing the growth of a lot of the players. Darren Collison I played with also when my third year, him and Marcus Thornton, and seeing them get better. Chris had unfortunately had a knee injury and he sat out like the last half of the year, and they got a lot of Coach Robert Pack was on the staff that year, and seeing those guys get better, it was just great to see. So for me, I take it in that regard where I may have not gotten a chance to play like as much as I want to, but by watching and observing, I did, got a chance to observe and see, what it takes, just to be a professional, and so that's what I take from that experience.
So this is a two-part question, and so now obviously you got traded to Toronto, and how long did it take you to adjust to a different country in Canada, different lifestyle, And also, what was it like playing in Toronto in front of that fan base? And you played with a lot of great players: Jared Jack, Reggie Evans, Marcus Banks. And then you go on Ed Davis, Jose Calderon, Jarrett Bayless, DeMar DeRozan. So what was the experience like there?
Yeah, that was another big shift because I went from a veteran, heavy team to a younger team. And so I got traded in the off season. That was the year Chris Bosh had left
Yeah.
to the Heat. So they're rebuilding, and I knew they were going to rebuild the situation. And I got traded from Marco Bellinelli, and that was kind of just the accessory just to make sure that trade happened. So I wasn't really in the Raptors' plans, even though I still got to play. I should play more minutes with the Raptors than the Hornets. But they just knew I just it was going to be hard for to stay there. There's so many young players and just trying to figure out what's what. So that year was kind of it was still good from a player development standpoint. So the difference was with those veterans, player development wasn't a big deal yet. For every team. It was kind of if a team has a lot of veterans, if they need extra work, good. The assistant coaches stick around. If not, all right. They don't even have people who are like unofficial assistants who are helping doing workouts and stuff. That wasn't the culture at the time. It was we have 3 assistants and whatever wherever the culture is, that's what they do. But with Toronto, they had a lot of younger players, so we would get a lot of player development work in. We'll be doing stuff before practice, before the games. So that was my first exposure in the NBA, actually working during the year when there's still 6-7 months to get better, especially if you're not playing a lot. So I felt like I got better, just wasn't getting an opportunity like that. In the confidence standpoint, it was tough knowing that, hey, this is my last year of my contract. Now I must have did something good enough to keep getting it renewed. You only guarantee first 2 years.
Right.
So there was kind of like confusing. It's like, all right, I'm still good enough to stay in the league, but I'm not getting the minutes. But just to get into that, playing with a lot of young players, young DeMar DeRozan, seeing his growth, it wasn't surprising. We were in the same workouts together. We're going through the work. Of course, he's playing. They're building around him. So he's definitely working through things. I played with Sonny Weems also. He was, So I got Amir Johnson. So like I said, we had young players, Andrea Bagnani, Jose Calderon. So I played with a lot of Leandro Barbosa. So I was able to play with. That was like an international team. Joker.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see, be in the locker room and now be in an environment where player development and regrouping is one thing. And see that culture, see the attitude, even though we're losing games, how do we, it's just like back to work. So I like to see that part of professionalism too. Young players working hard, even though they're not seeing the results based on wins, you're getting better. And obviously that whole team got, rearranged. But I was still happy to see the Raptors get to that point and win the championship, for that franchise and the fan base, just rooting for them. It wasn't a big change living in Toronto because it's like in the States to me, the speak it's not that far, but it was an experience. I loved it living in Toronto. It was one of my favorite places to have lived.
So another 2-part question here. Obviously, the goal is always to win an NBA championship, but you won EuroLeague championship in the Turkish League, and you also won D League championships. Take me back to that experience. What was it like winning championships in the D League and the Turkish League?
Well, it's been something that you don't really sit here and beat your chest over, but it's an accomplishment nonetheless. We had a goal in mind, and I played with a lot of young players. I played for the Austin Toros, now called Austin Spurs, and I kind of sensed that pedigree as well. Because they ran the same offense, they played the same way, and I loved it. I loved that environment. I played with for Coach Brad Jones, who eventually got a chance to move up in the NBA ranks, and a lot of other assistants went on to do some things. Coach Jenkins now, the head coach of the Grizzlies, so he was assistant coach at the time in 2012. So I just love the upward mobility. Also, I played with Justin Dittman. I played with Brad Wanamaker, who's
okay, yeah,
Europe and did well, and then came back to the NBA. I played with Corey Joseph, young Corey Joseph, who was drafted by the Spurs but got a chance to play down there. That was kind of when it became the norm. I'm trying to think. I played with a lot of guys, just guys who just know how to play the right way. Again, I've always been in good locker rooms, guys who know how to play the right way, guys who treat each other with respect, and that's kind of that's that environment they create as well. As most people know, the Spurs, it's a trickle down to the D League. But to win the championship, nonetheless, is a feat for me because it was kind of, at the time, I thought it was redemptive, because I hadn't played as much in the NBA the first 4 years, and I got a chance to show what I can do a little bit. And the lockout, I got a little out of shape with that lockout in 2011. And I had some workouts lined up for me, actually. So my agents did what they could do. And so I went to the D League, and I got in shape before I joined the D League. And by the time it was kind of already too late for, teams weren't really signing players, for call-ups. So, but it was still, nonetheless, I just said, hey, I need to get back in this circle and play, and have that, after having that lockout and everything, I want to get back to playing before going overseas. So yeah, that was one thing. I didn't actually win the championship, but yeah, we definitely made some noise in Turkish, but at the same time, that's another thing we talk about is very competitive overseas, and seeing the game evolve. Everything was perfect timing with my skill sets and the small ball, with the Warriors. Thanks to the Warriors.
Yeah. Speaking of overseas, we had a lot of overseas players on the show before, and actually this Friday, I'm sure you know him, Chris Johnson is coming out on the show Friday, and another overseas player. But for you, what was it like, the overseas experience, and did you learn any languages? And what was between the coaching and your teammates, and also food wise, how quickly do you get adjusted to the food wise?
Yeah. All right. So my first job outside of playing NBA or D League, going overseas, was in Israel. I didn't know much about overseas. It's funny, crazy. We're supposed to be in the information age even in 2012, and it's like so many people before me has played overseas. No blogs, no books.
Yeah.
It's like people been playing in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Overseas. It's like there's no information, not much about it. It's like quiet. No, it's like quiet as kept. It was mind-boggling, and so. But from what I with my agency, we were just kind of getting contacts and hearing from a lot of people. Israel is a good place to just to get an overseas experience with it not being so like much of a culture shock. Because you speak English there. It's it's an ally, United States. The weather's nice, so it was kind of like that was I kind of just took whatever little information I had, said, all right, well, it sounds good. And I loved it. That me going overseas, my first stop in Israel was great. It was my first time away from the States, and I was able to really connect, like spiritually and mentally, just kind of detox. I feel like there's nothing wrong necessarily with the United States in the sense of like social aspect, but it's a lot of stimuli, and it could end up being distractions around us. And it's not, it can just be family, it can be friends, it can just be, when you have goals in mind, things like that, you still have all this other things that you're used to, you're familiar with, you know where to shop, it's easy to just get out and be in the hustle bustle. Being overseas, I didn't know too many people. It was a new environment. So I kind of found myself in my own space, different time zones. So, I'm communicating different times, and it kind of gave me time to just focus on myself. Like, what do I like to do? What do I want to do in life? I had that time, and that was really a beautiful thing for me. Aside, even away from playing basketball, but me and Justin, it was great. The food is amazing there. It's like the Mediterranean style. This competition was really huge there because a lot of players, again, it was like a year removed from the lockout. So a lot of guys were going overseas just trying to play and get seen. And so that was a really competitive year in Israel. And our team, we lost in the first round, but I was the defensive player of the year that year. And that was a great experience. In terms of languages and playing all around the world, that was my first experience of, even though a lot of people were speaking English, I wanted to learn, the native language there. So I started learning Hebrew even in 2012, speaking it with some people I started to meet out there. I still speak it a little bit, but I read better than I speak just because I'm not practicing as much and I
Right.
travel a lot. But that's kind of give me the pulse for everywhere, and I'm comfortable in any environment.
Hmm.
I feel like my first, your first experience can get paved the way. So I've been since then, Russia, Greece. I was in Athens with Panathinaikos, the EuroLeague team.
Oh wow.
I've been in Italy, been in France, been in Turkey, as was mentioned earlier. And I was in China before COVID started. I was about to start playing with the team in CBA, and then I just recently played in Taiwan. So I've been able to play around the world and pick up different things with language, culture, food, and meet friends along the way and people I still stay in contact with. So that's kind of why I'm more international. I love it, just being around the world. And people who play in the NBA 10, 15 years, that's always great, and that could be someone's dream. But for me, I've been able to see the world and make money while doing it and playing the game that I love. So that's why I say I don't have any regrets. And I would, if who would know? I could have been a journeyman for
Yeah.
14 years NBA. And all right, but I've really enjoyed playing overseas and seeing the world. I mean, it's been amazing.
Yeah, like speaking of Safan Marbury plays in China right now, so he's doing a great job there. But for you, looking back at your career, obviously now you're still playing the game in the Big Three league. But how grateful are you to be in this position? Obviously, you went through a lot of ups and downs throughout your career, a lot of movements, but you kept working hard, working on your game, getting a lot of opportunities, and just how grateful are you to be in this position right now and still be playing in the Big Three league?
I'm grateful to just, like I said, to be healthy. Just to be active still. I say active sounds like I'm 40. I'm 34. I have, like I said, with no major injuries. That's the thing. That's why a lot of times people look at someone's age and then it should be, well, do they have injuries too? Like I don't have any major injuries. I feel good. So that's where I'm grateful for right there. But from ambition standpoint, I don't feel I have anything to prove necessarily. Oh, I got to play X. I don't. It's not about how long it's played to accomplish this, accomplish that. You know, if it makes sense to take a job and play and do this, that's because it makes sense, not just to say I'm playing a year 15, year 16, year 17. But the big three is a great, thing. Let me first talk about big three. One thing I do cherish about my overseas careers, opposed to the NBA, or just a difference is I'm expected to produce. I'm
Right.
expected. I'm counted on. And I hadn't felt counted on in my career until I went overseas.
Mm-hmm.
It went from you just playing because you sparing someone minutes while they get rest to all right, you're expected to come here, score this many, rebound this many, be an impact player. You're gonna play, until you need a break. For the most part, that was something that's why I say I've enjoyed my career. Actually, it's not about the back of my jersey, is it an NBA jersey or not. I've actually got a chance to play. I went from not playing a lot to playing a lot. That's where I enjoyed it. And back to what you said earlier about power forward center, the game is now changed where I'm able to play positionless basketball, which I kind of be able to hone all my skills, kind of like Thanos getting all those Infinity Stones. It's kind of like, all right, I can play point guard. I can play point guard sometimes, center, small forward. In some games, I'll sub in at different positions too. Not just one. And in some games, I match up. Hey, I want you to bring the ball up because they're pressuring our point guard, and I run the offense. I know I've learned offensive sets because I might play point guard for a part of the game, or hey, we got to match with a center. Someone's in foul trouble. I just slide over to that position. So I became more knowledgeable because now, not just game by game, but within each game, I expected of myself to be able to switch positions, and that's where I feel like I was always ahead of my time in terms of skill sets. So I'm really excited to I feel like I'm a better player, more complete player, and even I've been working on my jump shot to the point. Even last year, I went 6 for 12 in the game in Taiwan from three. I'm confident and comfortable shooting the ball, and just like that, adding that aspect over the past 3 years has really just been rewarding. So the big three is also great in the summer, keep the competitive edge, but I haven't hung them up yet per se. Although I'm in player development. But if the right opportunity comes, yeah, I'll definitely looking to take a job. For
So
you.
are we saying a possible return to the NBA is possible for you? Um, uh, for example, Sean Marks, they're looking for another big man. Please call Julian Wright to help the Brooklyn Nets win the championship.
Man, I would say that would be a stretch, but because I know there's a lot of great young guys even coming in this draft, and I think they can probably do well winning this draft. These guys are so athletic. I don't know. I thought I was athletic until I watched like the things they're doing now. Like these young guys, I mean, they're jumping out the gym. And I saw this one guy. I forgot his name. You may know it, but he's come out of Texas. He has a little like curly frill.
He's with Cleveland now, Jared Allen.
No, okay, not him, but he's a draft prospect.
Oh.
He went to University of Texas. I watched some clips on Instagram. He's with Clutch Sports. They was doing like a pro day. His head was over the rim when he was dunking it, and like it's crazy. It's like I didn't have that type of athleticism.
Wow.
But just to see that and now see how skilled guys are, I'm just like living vicariously through these younger guys, just seeing that they have these opportunities. But for me, if anything, I just want to continue to play. Chris Paul is he's riling up all the mid-30s year olds guys out there. Like we still got it, man. We still got it. So I'm open to still playing, but we'll see.
All right. Yeah. So now we do this fun little segment on the show. It's called the rapid fire segment. You ready for this?
All right.
All right. Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
What's going to make me laugh more is Kawhi Leonard's laugh, so I'll say Kawhi
Leonard. Favorite memorable game that you played in the NBA, EuroLeague, and then college, NBA, and then EuroLeague.
Okay, college is against Kevin Durant. Actually, I'll just have to use one of them. First time playing against him, he was amazing. He scored 32, but he got hurt in the second half. Beginning of the second half, he had 25 in the first half.
Wow!
And myself and Brandon Rush Gardner, we would contest him like this, and he was making shots. It was crazy. I knew he was special. I played against him in high school also. My high school team beat his high school team. He's at Oak Hill. Wow. So I had been beating him for a while, and then like in high school, college, even the AU, our team was beating on him. In college,
A2, right?
Yeah, and then when he was OKC, the Hornets was beating on him, and then like I think by the time the fourth year it was over, like he was totally obviously they were elite on a high level. But that was we were down 20 points at home in Allen Fieldhouse against Texas, came back and won. Wow. So that was one of my coolest games. NBA hasn't been a series. I would just say it was a game, the closeout game against the Dallas Mavericks, my rookie year. That was a great experience. They were the defending champs. Just seeing them, just play at that level. It was kind of like, well, it kind of was like come out party for myself, at least as a rookie, with limited, playing. Playing, against Dirk, it's just crazy to think about that now. Josh Howard, those guys, taking those guys down, it was great, my young career. Also, I would say my favorite game though would be against Coach Byron Scott when I was with the Raptors. We beat them in Cleveland, and I had like a good game, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and I didn't play much, like sparingly, but the coach Jay Toronto knew his offense. I was playing good. I was calling the plays out. I knew his schemes, so I ended up playing a lot against them that day. So that was good to of course get a little bit of petty revenge. Just saying we beat. I just want to beat your favorite former coach or team just to make sure that they can't say anything about you. But yeah, that was that. In overseas, it's hard to say because every game is different. It's right. But if I just say your league was a great experience, playing for obviously seeing what Luka Doncic did, young guy coming going to the league. It's a respected league. I was playing with Panathinaikos, a team in Athens. I had a pretty good game against a team called Fenerbahce. That's a team in Turkey. That's one of the teams that Brad Rodemaker played for before going to NBA. So. I had a good game there, at home. I was coming off a little injury, so playing in that arena with those fans, they're crazy too. So I mean, I can pull from so many different things. I know it's supposed to be rapid fire, but yeah.
Yeah, so my friend Kia, who was supposed to join, but she's part of the team, and unfortunately she can't join. But she has a question for you. What was the experience like in the McDonald's All American? She wants to know the All American McDonald's game experience in '05.
Oh goodness, man, that was a great experience. It would have been remiss for that question not to be brought up. That was something that was unforgettable. It was in South Bend, Indiana, with Notre Dame. We played Notre Dame arena. Um, you know, we get a letter in the mail. My coach, they mailed it to the school. My coach brought it to me. To say I got selected. Again, it's like I know I had a coming out party. I know I'm like they're calling me a top 10 player. In my class. But again, it's not official until it's official. And so when I got down there and played, and getting to meet teammates, Mario Chalmers, Brandon Rush, he did USA. I think because he went to prep school or something, like he wasn't eligible for it that year. But I played with Michael Downs also, who transferred out to Gonzaga. But meeting those guys, seeing the female players, there's Renee Montgomery, who was in our same class. Now she's going on to do great things, being a co-owner now.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just cool to see that growth. But being there was great. Playing in there, my family able to come out. Being from Chicago, we just drove down. It was easy, so we could leave when we wanted. And I still have tapes from that game, and I gotta probably preserve them, get them on to like MP4 or something. Now I gotta one scrape is over, on the DVD.
Right.
But yeah, like it's been a great. It was great to play in that. And to know how many players, obviously, how many Hall of Famers and people who've gone to accomplish great things, just be a part of that is just awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of Renee Montgomery, she was on our show last year, and it was an honor talking to her. And an amazing person, inspiring woman, and like you said, doing great things. Co-owner for the Atlanta Dream, which is amazing.
Right.
Yes. I want to ask you though. Obviously, you mentioned KD, but what was it like playing against LeBron and the late Kobe Bryant?
Yeah, it's like I actually feel like I'm a better defender against the better players because of my length and athleticism, and knowing that my job is just to be on you and y'all all help me. I'm actually not. If I'm talking about weaknesses, I'm worse on like trying to like play that team defense and then close out, and then there's other stuff going on. But if I'm just locked on one player, I know I have help. I was more like an elite defender. And so, but playing against guys like, LeBron, the late Kobe Bryant was an experience also. I got to make sure I go through, keep all these tapes, and, they used to give us all the film after each game. I have it in storage, but I got to get it out of storage. But the idea is that, I can just kind of give these experiences and try to inspire the youth, you don't have to be a great player based on stats to inspire people. And so being together, being those playing against those guys, them guarding me at times, those things are always things that I'm starting to now think about and sink in. It's kind of like as long as I'm still like an active player, I kind of don't reminisce too much, but in this regard, talking about greatness, these great players, yeah, I do at times think about it. And just to know that I got that experience again playing NBA, that no one can take that from me, even regardless of what they might see on the stat line. Like, hey, I'm out here. I got a chance to do that.
Funniest teammate that you played with?
Oh, man, probably have to be Hilton Armstrong. That's my guy, man. He's a nut, and he's funny. He's we keep in touch. He came out of UConn. He was there before I got to New Orleans, and not being around a lot of older, and we had a lot of older vets. It was not as many guys, in my age group. So, we bonded pretty quickly, and on road trips, just going to malls, just eating and talking. He's hilarious. Yeah.
Do you still, speaking of keeping in touch, do you still keep in touch with Chris Paul a lot?
Yeah, but everyone's active, and busy, and people change the numbers, but now with Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, we're just a message away. So we talked recently, and then also before I went to Taiwan last year to play, being in North Carolina, he had some private runs in Winston-Salem. And so I went up there, and David West, being from living in Raleigh area, we all got together. Well, he didn't play, but I played with Chris, and we just talked a little bit. So, that's how it is with kind of fraternity. It's not about the frequency. Everyone, has, unless people just change it up on them acting different. Everyone's the same. Whenever people talk, it's always love. It's always good and good to catch up. But people are busy with their families and business ventures, and obviously he's playing in a very important game tonight. So I know what it's like, and so I don't reach out to people as much, and it's kind of when it makes sense to do it. That's when we do it.
Yeah, speaking of tonight's game, and obviously Suns are backing against the wall going into Milwaukee, because I picked the Suns in 6, and now obviously they're going to win in 7. But for what do the Suns need to do as a team? Because I feel like Chris Paul can't do it alone. Obviously, they need the bench to step up. In my opinion, that's the biggest key tonight. The bench. Obviously, Chris Paul is going to do his thing. Obviously, he wants that ring. He's like, I told my friend, he's a shark in the water. He's smelling the blood. He wants that championship. And but what do you think the rest of the team needs to do with Monty Williams?
Yeah, I'd say that I almost say, like, for CP, less pressure. Obviously, it is. You can't worry about obviously, if you lose, will I get back here? I'm here. Almost like you didn't get here because only yourself. You got here with the young team. You got here. Let those puppies grow. Even though there's 2-3 guys on the bench that need to grow up, and like take the energy into them. I think. I think that in high pressure situations, with they're kind of, it's like a lot of eyeballs on him to do what he does, and he's been effective. But you see, like, when obviously it happens. Players don't have they have a stretch where they don't play as well. But I feel like they were waiting for him to play good, and then it's like, all right, now we're gonna do our thing. I think it's almost like that. Now I sound bad saying the older person was like, hey, look, I need you to, like on those movies, like, I need you.
Yeah.
Wounded, I need you to come fight. It's like that type of thing. It's like they need to. I feel like the bench, like you said, needs to feel so empowered. Like, whether Chris plays great or not, like, I'm going to score 4 more points. I'm going to get me 2 more assists. I'm going to be more locked in, not just saying, or I'm deferring necessarily to see when Chris is going to, So that's the kind of thing that I feel like that's what will probably that's what we need in the world. Anyways, it's rare that you're gonna have a heroic thing. It's great, but you get those obviously iconic performances through time. But I think the Bucks are the best team at home, and I believe, I'm not the best statistician, but I believe the Suns have been the best road team, at least the regular season.
I think so. Yeah, pretty sure.
Pull from that, pull from the things that they've done already. Now thinking about what they haven't done already, or yet. So I think it's doable. It's just one game at a time.
Yeah.
I think if they can, they had the game won, last time here in Milwaukee. So they got to pull from those things, and just say, hey, it's not like we're just getting stomped by 20 points at home each time we come here. So, hopefully that can be what they do. And, we'll see. I'm rooting for the Suns all the way, and we'll see.
Oh, hopefully. I think I'm really confident in the Suns, and I think we're going to see a Game 7. I'm hoping, but everyone needs to step up. So, before we get to the last 2 things, I want to get your take on this NBA 2K21 real quick, if you saw it. And obviously now some WNBA players are in there. What do you like? What do you like about the new NBA 2K game? And they just released Candace Parker's picture in 2K too. It's amazing.
Okay, I saw that on my Instagram reel. I didn't look into it in detail. I heard about that. I'm not the biggest gamer, but I like the culture. And I think that's great, just that they're kind of branching out and kind of making sure that people it goes back to exposure anyways. And it should be a situation where people feel like the culture for basketball feels there's inclusivity as well, in terms of, hey, like, everyone's contributing to the popularity of the game, things like that. So obviously video games, it's a way to get it pushed out around the world, and so that's like one of the best, I guess you can call, marketing schemes within its own software on hard console. But I've seen the growth from 2K. I mean, I know the culture. I know how great it is. I'm the one who's on the couch watching someone do to my career or playing. You know, I don't play. I just watch. So I'm excited just to see the growth, continued growth, and not them just saying, "Hey, we are who we are. We're 2K. We don't need to do anything, changing. Not broke, don't fix it." They're expanding, so that's great. Like I said, I don't play video games. I'm trying to get into this virtual reality stuff though. It's kind of cool. So maybe they'll come out with some 2K virtual reality stuff at
Oh,
some
nice.
point.
Yeah.
That might be the way. That might be the way they capture my attention.
Yeah. So the last two things here, our team is part of this foundation called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. We're trying to help and prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe and the kids stay safe. So I'll send you the foundation so you can go check it out. And yeah, the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
You know that it's obviously there's been unprecedented things that have taken place. You know, there's a lot of dedication. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about, you know, they're not sleeping well. They're, you know, just putting themselves in a lot of environments. So, you know, I would say that that's commendable. I know it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people want to get back to normalcy, but I know it's a lot of things still going on. But my thing was just say keep going. You know, it's not always the people. You know, we know that athletes are celebrated for, you know, putting the ball in the basket, but there's people out there who are in behind the lines doing a lot of things that are dealing with a lot of people's livelihoods and things like that. So, you know, just want to encourage everyone out there keep going, and we know that it's not unnoticed, even if it's not publicized openly as much as sports and musicians and things like that.
Yeah, well said. And there it is. That wraps up episode 855 for the NR Hour Sports Show with former NBA player Julian Wright. He also played in the Turkish League, and now he plays in the Big Three. Go follow him on all social media formats. He's doing a great job. And thank you again for coming on the show, Julian. It's truly an honor. And we would like to have you back as a returning guest so you can meet the full team eventually. But keep up the great work. Hopefully, you get your chance to come back to the NBA hopefully. But you and your family stay safe.
Appreciate it, and if it's the NBA, it might be as a coach. I'm looking to get into development and help these younger guys. So that's